Hello beautiful, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this video that is so excited because I'm finally gonna try Lois Cosmetics. This is the Meet Me at Midnight. I am so excited. This palette literally showed up in my mailbox 15 minutes ago and I could not be more excited. So we are gonna try it out. I'm gonna do a look, I'm gonna show you some swatches, and I'm gonna let you know what I think about this brand, just like some initial thoughts. And if you're interested in seeing that, please stay tuned. And if you haven't been here before, if this is your first video here, hello, my name is Angie. I am such a lover of beauty makeup. I love everything beauty makeup related, especially things that are a little bit more colorful and especially in the makeup end. We got a jackpot today. So if you want to see some more makeup content, don't forget to subscribe because I upload 5 videos a week. So I did receive this palette as PR. Lois Cosmetics, the owner, sent me this palette and it showed up like literally 15 minutes ago. It is so beautiful. I will say I don't think it's like a spring palette per se, but I'm on the other hand, I do try to sometimes take into consideration when doing looks, like is this a spring look, is this a Christmas look, is this a summer look. I think this is a more dramatic, jewel tone, more like darker color scheme, but I love wearing these kind of colors all year around. I think it's so pretty. As I'm filming this, I haven't swatched it, but you're seeing some swatches right now. I am just super intrigued, and since I'm so excited, I am putting this up tomorrow. So when you're seeing this video, just know that I filmed this kind of late last night, and that's why I'm not doing 2 looks. Usually I do 2 looks, but I'll make sure to do something for Instagram as well. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. I do post quite a lot of content on Instagram, also like makeup tutorials and stuff like that. So if you want to see more content, don't forget to check out the link down below. I try to post daily. I try to post daily, and I will put another look on my Instagram because I am very excited. I think this is 28.75 pounds or something. It's just under 30 pounds. I don't know exactly what that is in dollars. Lois Cosmetics is a UK based indie brand and I'm just super excited. My cats are playing in the background. Playing or fighting? You never know with cats. You never know with cats. It also comes with a sleeve like this. Super excited. I'm not 100% sure if there are any coupon codes floating around. If I find something, I will put it in the description box. Like I said, I did get this sent as PR, so I'm not 100% sure if there are any coupon codes available. But let's zoom in and let's try this out. I did wear a makeup look before today because I was filming something else, and that's also coming up later this week. But I was just super excited because my friends are loving Lois Cosmetics. It's been all the rage, and I'm finally able to try this pretty hyped up brand. So let's zoom in and let's go. Do you hear my cat in the background? Sweetie, meow. Come and play then. Why are you meowing out in the corridor? No one can come and play with you there. I think I'm gonna start with this one that is like wait, I'm holding it upside down. That is the lavender. It's called Face, because I kind of want to see. This is what I do when I try out brands for the first time. Can you hear her? I try and see what kind of a formula is this? Is this a pigmented formula? Is this a buildable formula? Is this a formula where you can build mattes on each other? Or do you have to start with the darkest one? I try stuff out. It takes me longer to review a brand that I've never tried before than it takes to review something that I'm used to the formula. And I have never tried Lois Cosmetics before. So I'm probably gonna have to dive into all of these shades just to see like how I really think about this brand and what kind of formula it is. I feel like this is very pigmented for being a pastel. We're gonna diffuse this upwards, but I'm not too worried about this edge here because we are basically gonna cover all of that up. I'm just gonna have this as like the transition shade upwards. On me, this is definitely a pastel, but it's not on my skin tone. It is not light enough to be an inner corner highlight on me, but I'm sure it would make a very beautiful like lid color. I prefer a pastel that is even lighter than this if I'm gonna use it as an inner corner highlight. Oh, this palette doesn't have any inner corner highlights now that I look at it. Not that I really mind, it's so easy for me to just pull in from something else, but now that I looked at it, I realized that this is literally the lightest color in the palette, and it's still not like super light. It's very interesting. I mean, I love darker colors, so I'm not mad about that. But if you're not into darker colors, maybe this isn't like the palette for you. I'm gonna use a little fluffier brush. This is a Nabla Precision Soft Crease. And I am gonna use this shade that's called Mysterious. It is like a plummy red purple. And I'm just gonna see how this works together with this one. I don't think there's gonna be a problem, yeah. I think this is going to be beautiful together. I mean, one is a bit more cool tone and one is a bit more warm tone, but usually when you blend colors like this together, since they're both purple, I think it's going to be perfectly fine. I'm just adding a little bit more depth into the crease, and then I'm going to blend it out or like deepen it up with this one that's called Disturbed. It's like a dark, almost midnight blue. I'm just building and creating a little bit of a gradient, just seeing how they build and how pigmented they are. This isn't really a packing on brush. This is more a like a more flimsy blending diffuser brush, but still I feel like it's really pigmented and nice, this color, even though I'm not packing it on. I'm using a little bit more of the lavender face and I'm blending over the edges. And I think this is gonna be really pretty. I'm gonna go back and forth. I'm trying to blend a warm shadow into a cool shadow, so it's gonna take a little bit more effort, but I'm not worried because I am experienced. I've done stuff like this before. I think the main way to get this to be done is to blend back and forth and just to realize that it is not gonna be as cool tone of an edge when I blend them together, because usually a warmth takes over a bit, but I feel like this is looking really nice and purple. Really nice and purple. Am I gonna put this? No, I want to use as many of the shimmer shades as possible, so I'm not gonna put this under my eyes. I'm really liking this. You can see the difference of how much more like pink it pulled when I used that one in the crease. Like compared to this, if you only want to keep it periwinkle, you could definitely skip this like reddish step. I just want to use as many shades as possible. I just want to see what kind of a formula this is. And I'm going back and forth, blending away. It's looking really cool. I will say these shadows are pretty hard pressed. Like you don't get any fallout in the pan, but it still picks up really good. If you're used to shadows that you like get kick up in the pan, they're really soft. This is not really that. You do have to like, not rub, but it's not like tapping. It requires a little bit more than tapping to get the pigment to get on your brush. So we are using, oh, there's a little on the cheeks though. So we are using some of this darkest shade, and this is basically where we're gonna see, because can you get the dark shade to show up after layering two mattes? I prefer a formula where you can layer like mattes on top of each other and still build up a dark matte to be dark. I can work around it, like I'll start with a dark matte if I have to. It is not a deal breaker when it comes to formula for me. I wouldn't say I don't mind it. I feel like that's perfectly fine, but I prefer a formula where I can choose. Do I want to start with a dark one or don't I want to? I would say that this one does build and it's not patchy, but it's not as dark here as it is in the pan when I build it on top of matte. So I would say if you want it to be that dark, you might need to start, at least not build it on top of two mattes, but I also don't feel like this doesn't look good. Does that make sense? Like this still does look good. It is just not as, let me see if I can build a little bit more. It's not as dark as it is in the pan. I'm gonna use Midnight, which is the black. It has a little shimmer on it, but I don't care about that because we are gonna be using metallics. And I'll see if I can, oh yeah, that definitely did add a little bit. So I just added a little bit of the matte black. Again, it's not giving me full on opacity, but it's probably because this formula is not meant to be building 4 different mattes on top of each other, at least not if you want them to be super, super dark and opaque. But I feel like that looks really, really pretty. I do like that result. it feels very blended. I'm happy with how that looks. I do have a little fallout. Not the end of the world, but that is how it's looking right now. It looks nice. It looks really nice. Is that so much hair everywhere? I am gonna do the same on the other eye, and I think, because I really need to use this one. Listen, look at this. Look at this like Klein blue metallic. I need to use it. I'm sorry. There's just no way out of that one. It's happening. So it picks up really good on the brush, but I am gonna spray it. I spray all of my shimmers, basically all of my shimmers. It's very rare that I don't spray my shimmers because it prevents me from getting fallout, and I don't want fallout. That is beautiful. This is one of my favorite colors in the world, a really bright Klein blue. It makes me very, very happy. That is stunning. I am gonna put this in the middle of the lid, and I'm gonna bridge this a little bit. I think, right? Because otherwise I'm gonna have to blend like a maniac. So I think I'm gonna use, it's called Inky, the one that's next to it. I think that one is gonna be really good to bridge. When I say bridge, I usually mean that I use a color that's like in between the two colors I'm trying to merge. I'm trying to merge a dark midnight blue with a bright blue. So I'll use a darker metallic blue and I'll bridge in between so it's easier for these to merge. And then I'll go in with that dark Disturbed again. And I'm just gonna see if I can get these to look like they belong. I think that looks really nice. I will say this edge is not perfection. This matte formula, I don't want to say it's thin. It's not thin, but it's also not thick. You know, sometimes a matte formula, you can almost feel like there's a little thickness to it. This does not have that. So I need to build a little bit on top here so we don't get a edge between the shimmers and the mattes. But I feel like that is looking really nice. Right? I think so. Yeah, I can still see that there's a little edge here, though I'm not loving that, but it's also not the end of the world. That is sometimes what happens when a shimmer formula has more binders than like a lot more binders. At least this is me speculating. A lot more binders than the matte formula does. It becomes a little hard to blend them. But I feel like that is okay, right? I will say some of it disappeared now that I started like trying to touch up. So maybe the edge is better than like losing it. I did get a little fallout trying to manipulate it. Is that okay? It's not super smooth transition. It could be me. Could be me. But I feel like it's okay. Right? Not the smoothest transition I've ever seen, but I still think it's really nice and I love this color. I think I'm gonna do the purple on their lower lash line. I feel like the mattes are a little thin, and this could be me needing to like reassess my technique with this palette, but it just wasn't the same formula as the shimmers, because the shimmers is that like more like thicker, like very high opaque formula, and it made it a little harder out here to make them to merge together. Like you can see that the blend is not perfection, so I need to work on my technique when it came to that formula. I kind of want to use like some of these, like not like neutrals, but like I want to see how they are. Ooh, let me use Blood Moon. It seems like a copper. I think I'm gonna use that in the middle. putting a little bit of the lighter, more like peachy copper. It's called Guided, this one here. I'm putting that here in the inner part. Not in the inner corners, but on the inner part of the lower lash line. I think that's really pretty. I feel like it's such a rough, I just feel like it's such a rough edge here. You see, like the purple is just not like pigmented or like thick enough to really look good between the mattes and the shimmers. It just creates a little bit of an edge, and I feel like that is something that I'm gonna have to work a little bit on and like see how I feel next time I use this palette, because this is not the first makeup look I'm doing today. It's also the first time I'm working with this formula. So I don't 100% know what to expect, but at least I know that it's not a formula that will build and build and build. Like, you need to decide which color you want to be the main focus of the look, because otherwise it's gonna end up being hard once you want to get the shimmers on. I'm gonna use this one that's called Half Moon. I'm really liking the shimmer options in this palette. I think they're super pretty. All of them are just very nice, and a little bit more of that thicker shimmer formula. If you felt a formula like that, you know what I mean. And I actually really enjoy a formula like that, so I think that this looks really nice. It's like a true metallic thicker formula. I did use a little bit of Prance in my waterline because Prance is always here to save the day. Unfortunately, Prance is also discontinued, so this is the life I'm living. I'm gonna put some falsies on because I love wearing falsies. I don't hate the look, but it wasn't the most effortless thing I've done in my life, and I also do feel that the blue is losing a little bit. Like, can you see that it's a little bit patchy here? When I tried to like build on the edge, I feel like parts of it fell off. So I think that this is just me learning how to work with this formula. I have not tried the Meet Me in the Underworld. I will say that my expectations were sky high because so many people seem to be loving that formula. Cooler tone shadows are harder to formulate, I will say that. I feel like the reason why I was having a little bit of problem here, first of all, me building a lot of mattes on it, that's just me trying out the formula. Just seeing if it is a formula that you can build and build and build on, like the Anastasia or the BH Cosmetics or most of the Kaleidos and Oden's Eye, for example. And I do feel like it is buildable to a point, but maybe not like to get it to be this dark. But the black definitely worked to like to darken it up. I think that like the color story is just amazing, but where I struggled a little bit out here and where I created a little bit of a line, I feel like I got rid of a bit of it, but I also ended up blending off a little bit of the blue. Win some, lose some, is that the shimmers are that like thicker, like oilier consistency that gives that really blinding result, but those usually do not, you're not able to blend on the edge, and if the mattes are not 100% opaque, it can be really hard sometimes to make them blend into each other. So that's just something that I need to work on. This is a first impression. I definitely like the look. I love the color story, and I really do enjoy how everything came out. I'm giving you like a full review here after first impression. That's not what this is. I'm just giving you my thoughts after using it. Let me put on some lashes and I'll just sum all of this up. Okay, I hadn't swatched this palette when I went in with this look, and I would... Yes, sweetie? Meow. And I think had I swatched this palette, I probably would have used it a little bit different, because now that I swatched some of these shades, I noticed that this dark blue here is a little thinner than, for example, this dark burgundy, and this dark green. So I think the reason why I felt like there was a little bit of a thinness going on in the outer corner could have been this dark blue shade. I'm gonna have to use this palette more because swatching these two, so opaque and so creamy, so it might be, it's really hard to formulate something that's this cool tone and this dark. That is really hard, so it could have been this shade here. I will also say when I tried to blend them together, I did lose a little bit of the blue here, but there is a lot of metallic shadows that when you try to blend on them, you lose a little bit of the shininess. So I didn't reapply, but I could easily reapply the blue if I wanted to. First impression, I like this palette's color story, I didn't love this dark matte blue down in the corner, so I'm gonna have to use this a bit more before I give you my final verdict. I think that these shimmers are beautiful. These are a traditional, thicker, fully opaque, blinding, metallic formula. I wouldn't say that these are necessarily, maybe one or two of these could be duochromes, but I wouldn't necessarily call these special shades or duochromes. They're a traditional, good metallic formula. The mattes that I tried, I liked all of them except this dark blue. This wasn't my favorite. Not that I hated it, but I need to reassess how I'm working with it in the future. But I really, really liked the formula when I swatched these two. I'm very much looking forward to trying this a bit more. And I will say the dark matte, when I put it on, it really did darken the look. So it's gonna be interesting to work with this a bit more. I will always come back and give you a better review in the future. The first impression is all fine and dandy, but I need to try it a bit more before I can tell you how I really feel about it. And like I said, I will put a reel up on this one as soon as I get around doing another look. So do keep your eyes open on that one. Let me know, did you try Meet Me in the Underworld? What did you think about it? I still haven't tried it. This is my first encounter with the brand. Let me know your thoughts down below. Did you buy this one? I'm all open for hearing suggestions or hearing your thoughts down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe as well, because I will have a video tomorrow and I will see you then. Bye!